That's really hard.
Sure, let's talk about Fibonacci sequences, okay? Have you ever stopped to think, this is quite interesting actually. Have you ever stopped to think about the way that bees reproduce?
Sequence.
Yes. Well, you might have already seen this at 129, but what you have is you have, let's see, if I had a male worker bee, I forget the sign for male. We use an M. I know how to make an M. So a male actually is a female's egg that is not fertilized, if I understand correctly. Often they call that the worker bee. So it has one parent. But how does an egg turn into a female, a queen? Well, you have an egg, and the egg is fertilized. So you have this wonderful situation that only happens with worker bees and in Arkansas, where there are 3 grandparents for one child. I'm sorry, either of you are from Arkansas, you know, it just is what it is. And so let's see, then we can look back at great-grandparents. This female, of course, had a mother. Everybody has a mother. This one has a father, to be female. Of course, it was fertilized. This just had a mother. This female, 2 parents. This one, 1. This one, 2. So what do we have? Well, we have 1 in this generation, 1 in this generation, 2 in this generation, 3 in that generation, and 5 in that generation. Believe it or not, there is a closed form formula for this, but it's really messy. And I would suggest that you Google it if you want to see it. It's too messy for public. But what's way easier to do here, notice how sort of I'm repeating the same thing. Once I sort of got the idea here, I just sort of repeated the genealogy of a female, repeated the genealogy of a male. When you see something like that, you should think somehow recursive sequence. So A1, of course, is 1. Now this is a little more complicated than that past recursive sequence because this is really fairly unrelated to that. If I just showed you this, you couldn't really predict what the parents of a female were. Right? You can't use this part of the picture to predict this. So I'm going to have to give you another sort of step in the picture. So A1 is 1, A2 is 1. But if I gave you this piece, if you knew that every male had 1 mother and every female had 2 parents, well, then you could actually predict how many parents these guys would have. Why? Well, because you have a female, so you just repeat this part. And you have a male, so you just repeat that part. So you have to repeat the step that's 1 back and the step that's 2 back. So A3 is equal to really A2 plus A1. Well, that's where we are here. Now, if you want to go another step, you could sort of say to yourself, well, now I'm at a place where I have 2 pieces. If I just looked at the right piece, notice how that looks like the thing 2 steps back. This looks like the thing only 1 step back. So again, A4, this step, is just the sum of these 2 things. It's the sum of the last 2 levels. So we have A3 plus A2. And then in general, of course, the nth level is the A n minus first, stepping back once,